Chapter 1. The Kindness of a Stranger. It was a chilly evening in the small town of Willowbrook. The streets were quiet, save for the occasional rustle of leaves and the distant hum of cars. The local diner, Maggie's Place, was winding down after the dinner rush. Inside, the warm glow of the neon sign reflected off the polished countertops, and the smell of freshly brewed coffee filled the air. Emily, a 28-year-old waitress with a heart as big as her dreams, was wiping down the last of the tables. She had been working at Maggie's Place for 3 years, and though the job wasn't glamorous, she took pride in it. Emily was the kind of person who always had a smile for everyone, even on her toughest days. But tonight, her smile was a little brighter. She had just done something that made her feel good, something that reminded her why she loved her job, even on the hardest days. Earlier that evening, as she was taking out the trash, she had noticed a scruffy, thin dog lurking near the dumpster. The poor thing looked like it hadn't eaten in days. Without a second thought, Emily had gone back inside, grabbed a plate of leftover meatloaf and brought it out to the stray. The dog had hesitated at first, but hunger won out, and it devoured the food in seconds. Emily had knelt down, gently petting the dog's matted fur, and whispered, "You're safe now, buddy." Unbeknownst to Emily, her act of kindness had been witnessed by someone who would change the course of her life in ways she could never have imagined. Chapter 2. The Doctor's Wrath. Dr. Richard Grayson was a regular at Maggie's Place. He was a well-respected physician in Willowbrook, known for his sharp mind and even sharper tongue. He was a man who valued order, discipline, and above all, rules. To him, the world was black and white, and there was no room for gray areas, especially when it came to hygiene and professionalism. That evening, Dr. Grayson had been sitting in his usual booth, sipping his coffee and reviewing patient files when he saw Emily feeding the stray dog. His face had immediately darkened. To him, this was a clear violation of health codes. How could a waitress, someone who handled food, be feeding a dirty stray animal right outside the restaurant? It was unthinkable. Without a word, Dr. Grayson had stormed out of the diner, his mind made up. The next morning, Emily was called into the manager's office and handed a termination letter. The reason? Unprofessional conduct and violation of health codes. Emily was stunned. She had always gone above and beyond for the diner and its customers. How could this happen? She tried to explain, to plead her case, but the manager, a timid man who feared Dr. Grayson's influence, simply shook his head. "I'm sorry, Emily, but we can't afford to lose Dr. Grayson's business. He's one of our best customers." With a heavy heart, Emily packed up her things and left the diner, the place that had been her second home for so long. As she walked out the door, she couldn't help but feel a pang of anger toward Dr. Grayson. How could someone be so heartless? Chapter 3. The Unusual Turn. The days that followed were tough for Emily. She applied for jobs at other restaurants, but no one was hiring. Her savings were running low, and she was starting to feel the weight of uncertainty pressing down on her. But Emily wasn't one to give up easily. She had always believed that kindness would be rewarded, even if it didn't seem like it at the time. One evening, as she was walking home from yet another unsuccessful job interview, she heard a familiar bark. Turning around, she saw the same scruffy dog she had fed at the diner. It was wagging its tail, looking at her with those soulful eyes. Emily's heart melted. She knelt down and scratched the dog behind the ears. "Hey there, buddy, missed me, huh?" The dog barked again, then turned and started walking down the street, looking back at Emily as if to say, "Follow me." Curious, Emily followed the dog. Her curiosity piqued. They walked for several blocks, until they reached an old, abandoned building on the outskirts of town. The dog stopped in front of the building and barked once more, then sat down, looking up at Emily expectantly. Emily hesitated. The building looked like it hadn't been used in years. The windows were boarded up and the paint was peeling. But something about the dog's behavior made her feel like she needed to investigate. Taking a deep breath, she pushed open the creaky door and stepped inside. What she found inside took her breath away. Chapter 4. The Hidden Treasure. The interior of the building was nothing like the exterior. It was clean, well lit, and filled with the most beautiful artwork Emily had ever seen. Paintings, sculptures, and intricate tapestries lined the walls, each one more stunning than the last. In the center of the room stood a man, his back to her, working on a large canvas. Emily cleared her throat, and the man turned around. He was elderly, with a kind face and a twinkle in his eye. "Ah, you must be Emily," he said with a smile. "I've been expecting you." Emily was taken aback. "How do you know my name?" The man chuckled. "Let's just say a little bird, or rather, a little dog, told me about you. My name is Samuel, and this," he gestured to the room, "is my gallery." Emily's eyes widened. "Your gallery? But why is it hidden away like this?" Samuel's expression grew serious. I used to be a well-known artist, but as I grew older, I became disillusioned with the art world. It became more about money and fame than about the art itself. So I decided to step away, to create for the sake of creating. This gallery is my sanctuary, a place where I can share my work with those who truly appreciate it. Emily was speechless. She had never seen anything like this before. But why me? She asked. Samuel smiled. Because of your kindness. That dog you fed? He's been my companion for years. When he told me about you, I knew you were someone special, someone who understands the value of compassion. I want you to help me run this gallery, to share my work with the world in a way that stays true to its spirit. Emily's heart swelled with emotion. This was the opportunity of a lifetime, a chance to be part of something truly meaningful. Without hesitation, she nodded. I would be honored. Chapter 5. A New Beginning. Over the next few months, Emily threw herself into her new role with passion and dedication. She worked closely with Samuel, learning everything she could about the art world and the stories behind each piece. Together, they opened the gallery to the public, but in a way that was different from traditional galleries. They didn't advertise or charge exorbitant prices. Instead, they invited people in, one by one, to experience the art in a personal and intimate way. Word of the gallery spread slowly but surely, and soon, people from all over the country were coming to see Samuel's work. Emily's kindness and warmth made everyone feel welcome, and the gallery became a place of inspiration and joy. As for Dr. Grayson, he eventually heard about the gallery and decided to pay a visit. When he walked in and saw Emily, his face turned red with embarrassment. But Emily, ever the bigger person, greeted him with a smile. Dr. Grayson, welcome. I'm glad you could make it. Dr. Grayson stammered an apology, but Emily shook her head. No need to apologize. I believe everything happens for a reason. If it hadn't been for you, I never would have found this place. Dr. Grayson left the gallery that day with a newfound respect for Emily and a reminder that sometimes the greatest rewards come from the simplest acts of kindness. Epilogue. The Legacy of Kindness. Years passed and the gallery became a beloved institution in Willowbrook. Samuel's work continued to inspire, and Emily's kindness touched the lives of everyone who walked through the doors. The scruffy dog, now named Lucky, became the gallery's mascot, greeting visitors with a wagging tail and a friendly bark. Emily often thought back to that fateful day at the diner, when a simple act of kindness had led her to this incredible journey. She had learned that life is full of unexpected twists and turns, and that sometimes the most unusual things can lead to the most beautiful outcomes. And so, the story of the waitress, the stray dog, and the unusual turn became a legend in Willowbrook, a reminder that kindness, no matter how small, can change the world in ways we never imagined.